As my partner stated, war has been a plague on humanity since its very beginning. As long as civilizations have been forming, war has grown and advanced alongside them. Our country, the United States, knows war very well. We've been involved in many, and our very beginning was a war. In this century alone, we've been engaged in almost constant conflicts. Two of the most notable conflicts during that time being the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, both of which were a unilateral use of military force. It's likely that everyone here has heard the saying, time is money. Well, that's especially true in terms of war. But money isn't the only cost when it comes to a war. Loss of life, obviously, as my partner expressed, is the first thing that comes to mind when war is a topic of discussion. Another honorable mention is the blow that the United States' reputation takes with every war we start. This isn't to say that it's always avoidable, nor is it pointless. But everything should be done in moderation, and that includes waging wars. Liberating peaceful nations is an admirable yet lofty goal. Unilateral military force by the United States has many consequences, and I'm going to leave it up to you to decide, do the ends really justify the means? As I stated earlier, the United States has spent almost the entire 21st century at war. The two I'm focusing today are the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Let's look at the price of these conflicts. The war in Afghanistan, which lasted from 2001 to 2021, racked up a bill of $2.313 trillion. This doesn't include the lifetime care for veterans or the interest on all of our borrowed funding. If this funding isn't paid back immediately, we will continue to pay interest, and it will be a problem for many, many years. Now, money is a priority for the United States, but again, as my partner expressed, there is a price in war greater than borrowed funding. That price is paid in blood, whether it be soldiers of the United States or civilians. Aside from any moral implications, death is rather expensive. The United States spends money on their soldiers, training them, feeding them, housing them, arming them, and then if they do die, there's a $100,000 military death benefit paid to the next of kin after death. Unfortunately, in terms of civilians, we don't pay back every family for their lost loved ones. However, in some cases, there is aid provided in rebuilding the country after we destroy it. But no amount of rebuilding can bring back the deceased, nor can it bring back the funds we spent destroying the country. It only adds to that spending, of course. Another conflict was the war in Iraq, which went from 2003 to 2011. This 8-year war killed around 4,500 American soldiers, but the Iraqi civilian death toll was exceptionally larger, ranging from 275,000 to 306,000 dead. And of course, the war's financial hit was rather sizable as well, at $2.1 trillion. 12 years later, the United States is still paying back all of that borrowed money, and they will continue to do so. In fact, I feel like it's worth mentioning that most of the money used to fight in wars in recent years has been obtained by borrowing, which means interest, and interest continues to plague the nation years after the war is over, obviously, 12 years. So, if we hadn't gone to war, where would the money have gone? If that money had been put into healthcare, education, or clean energy, at least 1.4 million new jobs would have been created. But instead, the United States took unilateral military action and started wars, expensive ones. By turning on the news in recent years, you might think that money is all the United States cares about. Money may make the world go round, sure, but money is far less valuable if the country is in shambles. According to the Global Peace Index, the United States is not the beacon of peace it believes itself to be. In regards to our militarization, involvement in international and domestic conflicts, and societal security and safety, the United States is ranked 129th out of the 163 countries ranked. This was 2022, so it's very recent. We rank closer to Russia and Ukraine, who are at war, than we do to Canada, who we share a northern border with. Now, I'm sure borders don't mean everything, but I do believe that is rather concerning. On the index's scale of 5, with 0 being the best rating and 5 being the worst, the United States has a rating of 2.44. Now, the best rated country, Iceland, has a rating of 1.107. This doesn't bode well for the United States, but in terms of our internal affairs and our international relations, it's not good. With strained international relations, conflicts are more likely, and it snowballs. It gets worse with each war. And all of it starts with one country, the United States. Past conflicts that have been started from the use of unilateral military action never seem to end well. How much will the United States be willing to lose trying in vain to justify conflict after conflict? War against another country wages another war at home, dealing huge hits to the economy, tearing apart families, and putting needless tension on our already strained international relations. Unilateral military force by the United States is not justifiable. However, I will once again present the question to all of you. Do the ends really justify the means?